Yes, we can share that. That's good. So for those of you who don't know her, she's been here before. Okay? How many of you remember Alison? ¿Cuántos de ustedes recuerdan Alison? See, she's been here before. Welcome back. Bienvenida. Okay. Do you need that one or you don't need that one? What do you think?
That'll work. I have to talk with my hands.
So. That's good. Let me help you with that. Okay, good. You did it.
That'll work.
Good. Wonderful. And so I'm gonna say I wanna say some lies about you, and you will tell me if I write them or wrong. So voy a compartir algunas cosas de ella, me va a decir si estoy diciendo lo correcto o incorrecto. So you're a licensed marriage and family therapist, una persona que está licenciada para hacer terapia para familias y parejas. And you run your own private practice in Riverside. Okay, tiene su práctica privada en Riverside, es en otro condado, en another county, right?
Yeah.
Basically. And you are an advocate for mental health, and you have been a professor, or you are a professor at a college. What is the name of the college, plees?
Cal Baptist.
There you go.
Riverside.
There you go. So es una profesora de una universidad que se llama la Universidad Bautista, de Riverside, y also también ha sido una persona que trabaja abogando por las necesidades de otras personas. So welcome, bienvenida, and now I'm gonna have you do what you have to do.
Sounds great. We can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
We can.
I don't want to. I want to respect your boundaries.
So he will follow us. Don't worry.
Great.
Okay.
I'm just going to skip past this because we've already talked.
Ya hablamos acerca de mí, así que vamos a pasar esto.
Okay. So just to kind of, before we even get into the definition about boundaries, just understanding that tonight is going to be really a basic overview because boundaries are so vast and so deep.
Okay, antes de que entremos en la definición de límites, me gustaría hacer como un resumen general, porque saben que los límites es boundaries, límites son bastante complejos y bastante amplios.
The hope is that after tonight, there'll at least be a greater understanding, if not, maybe just some deeper reflection or things to think about ongoing about boundaries.
La meta es que después de esta conversación esta noche podamos tener un entendimiento mayor o por lo menos una perspectiva que sea útil para nosotros.
Okay, so let's start with the definition of what a boundary is.
Vamos a comenzar con la definición de lo que es un límite.
It is a line that marks the limits of an area, a dividing line.
Es una línea divisoria que marca los límites de una área.
Where you stop and others begin.
Donde tú paras y otros comienzan.
The boundaries you communicate and maintain can protect you both physically and psychologically or mentally.
Los límites que comunicas y mantienes te pueden proteger tanto física como psicológicamente.
Let's just give an example. We're all sitting in these chairs with a good distance amount from each other.
Okay, vamos a dar un ejemplo. Por ejemplo, ahorita mismo estamos todos sentados y sentadas ahí mismos al lado de uno al otro.
Not everybody's sitting closer on top of each other, right?
Nadie está sentado encima de otra persona, muy cerca de la otra persona.
That's an example of a boundary.
Ese es un ejemplo de límite. Pero esa pareja ya, that couple over there, really close. We're talking about the leaves.
Yeah, that's an example of just even a physical boundary, right? Like how close you're even sitting to somebody.
Ese es un ejemplo acerca de, por lo menos, los límites físicos de cuán cerca puedes llegar.
And then boundaries are not about cutting people off or ending a relationship, but they're how you allow relationships to grow and flourish.
Entonces, límites no se trata de cortar a la gente de tu vida o terminar o finalizar relaciones, sino más bien colocar el amor que define esa relación al frente para que todo florezca y crezca.
I think a lot of people think that boundaries are in place to restrict.
Yo pienso que algunas veces la gente piensa que los límites están hechos para restringir.
And if that's what you think boundaries are, hopefully you'll learn that this actually allows you to have more freedom when you're properly using boundaries.
En realidad, si esto es lo que piensas, hoy comprenderás un poco mejor que los límites en realidad te conceden más libertad para moverte.
So I put this picture up as an example of what, not necessarily a perfect, but what a good boundary could look like.
Esto no es una cerca perfecta, pero esto es una imagen que puede demostrar algún tipo de límite.
Picture yourself as a house, as a structure, and this is the fence outside of your house.
Imagínese usted mismo, you say you want to picture ourselves as a house.
As if we're the house.
Okay,
Yeah.
entonces tenemos que imaginarnos que somos la casa que está al frente de esa cerca.
You see on the picture, you can kind of see through. It's not too restricted, it's not too open, but it's a good fence. We can see what's on the other
Puede ver
side.
que a través de la cerca blanca que está allí, usted puede mirar a través de ella, puede incluso acercarse, pero realmente no te restringe, pero está abierta, pero tiene una idea clara de lo que es un límite.
A person who has too many boundaries or is too rigid with their boundaries, their fence would look maybe like concrete, where you can't see beyond your house.
Las personas que tienen los límites muy fuertes, tal vez no van a lucir como una cerca, sino como una muralla que no, de cemento, de concreto, que no puedes ir más allá de ella.
A person who doesn't have boundaries or very little boundaries would have no fence.
Y una persona que no tiene ningún tipo de límite lucirá como alguien que no tiene cerca.
Where people can just walk in and out of your house without asking.
O cualquier persona puede entrar y salir de tu casa sin preguntarte porque no tiene cerca.
So when we think of what a picture of maybe a healthy boundary looks like that we can see, and you might be able to see who's coming, who's going. It looks inviting and open, right?
Este tipo de cerca que pueden ver, pueden mostrar que la gente puede ir mirar, nosotros podemos mirar, todos pueden mirar, pero es invitacional sin ser que se preste para otra cosa.
Yeah, so just something to kind of think about and refer back to when you're thinking of what it might look like to have healthy boundaries, thinking of this picture in your head.
Esta idea es algo para que pensemos todos de lo que significa tener límites saludables realmente.
Let's talk a little bit about what boundaries, examples of boundaries in the Bible.
Ejemplos de límites en la Biblia.
The first verse that I thought of was John 5:44. How can you believe if you accept praise from one another, yet make no effort to obtain the praise that comes only from the only God?
Juan 5:44 dice, ¿cómo ustedes pueden creer y aceptar alabanza de uno al otro si no hacen ningún esfuerzo para obtener la verdadera alabanza que proviene del único Dios?
I think sometimes boundaries come in the form of people pleasing.
Algunas veces nuestros límites pueden venir revelados acerca de personas que quieren ser complacidas o pueden ser complacientes, mejor dicho.
So we're looking for compliments and praises from other people without thinking of it coming from God.
Y algunas veces queremos más bien reconocimiento y alabanza de cualquier persona, menos sin pensar de que debería venir de Dios primeramente nuestro reconocimiento.
Another one is looking back, in lots of many instances in the Bible where Jesus spent time not only with other people but also alone.
Otro ejemplo de límites es cuando Jesús, por ejemplo, pasa tiempo a solas y no solamente se la pasa con otra gente.
And then lastly, looking at Proverbs 25:28, like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control.
Por ejemplo, a Proverbios 25:28, una ciudad cuyas murallas están rotas y es como una persona que no tiene autodominio o dominio propio.
Self-control is one of the fruit of the Spirit, and it kind of goes hand in hand with being able to have boundaries and also being able to have that self-control.
El autocontrol tiene que ver con estar en el espíritu, pero también tiene que ver con esa capacidad de vivir en libertad mientras tienes el límite.
And there's many examples.
Many
examples in the Bible. It's hard to just pick a couple.
Hay muchos más ejemplos en la Biblia, pero también, a veces es difícil agarrar tantos ejemplos, pero estos son uno de ellos.
Yeah, I think mostly I just wanted also, you guys to understand that boundaries are biblical as well. It's not just something that's a mental health thing, it's also a biblical thing.
Sí, también podemos notar que los límites no solamente son asuntos psicológicos, pero también bíblicos, porque están en la Biblia, que muestra claramente.
I like this quote. You cannot expect people to respect a boundary you don't set.
No puedes esperar que la gente respete un límite que tú no has puesto. Can you repeat that please again, just for the sake?
Oh, of course, yes. You cannot expect people to respect a boundary you don't set.
No puedes esperar que la gente respete un límite que tú no has puesto.
I really like that one because when I feel like I am getting frustrated with other people, and I feel like my boundaries aren't being respected, it's usually because I haven't communicated the boundary.
Me gusta mucho esta frase porque algunas veces cuando me siento como que like some people is getting into you, right? Like without no respect or whatever.
Yeah, or yeah, if you're like, oh man, why is that person doing that? Oh,
Okay, cuando una persona la está invadiendo prácticamente es porque ella se ha dado cuenta que no ha comunicado claramente los límites con esas personas. Okay?
So let's talk briefly. I mean, I wish I had so much time to go into each one of these, but boundaries and relationships.
Hablemos acerca de límites y relaciones.
So boundaries that we set related to things that are emotional, physical, mental, or material items.
Límites que colocamos sobre la parte emocional, física, mental y material.
So these are just some of the examples, and we'll kind of go through each one. One of them might be, I don't want to talk about this subject while I'm at work because I need to focus. Maybe that's if you're talking to
Por ejemplo,
a friend or family.
Este es un ejemplo. Por ejemplo, no quiero hablar acerca de este sujeto en este momento, es un límite, ¿verdad? Mientras esté en el trabajo y porque necesito enfocarme.
No, I can't loan you money for new shoes or fill in the blank, right? I can't loan you money to fix your car. I can't loan you money for a book. I don't know.
Otro ejemplo, no te puedo prestar dinero para que te compres esos zapatos o puedes poner también cualquier otra cosa que tú quieres para comprarte esos zapatos nuevos. Lo que sea que quieras poner, usted está diciendo, no quiero esto.
I would like to spend time with my friends and family on the weekends. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't respect that you like to spend time with family and friends.
Por ejemplo, me gustaría pasar tiempo con mis amigos y amigas y mi familia en los fines de semana. A lo mejor estás en una relación la cual piensa que no deberías hacer eso, pero tú estás diciendo, eso es lo que yo quiero hacer también.
This one maybe people can relate to. I don't want to discuss this topic at family dinner, right? There's many topics that can become a little heated at family dinners.
Por ejemplo, otro podría ser, no quiero discutir este tipo de tópico o de tema mientras estamos comiendo como familia, porque se pueden poner intensas, candentes las conversaciones.
Yeah. I would love to, at least at this point, share an example that I try to implement in my family relationship, a boundary that we use.
Un ejemplo personal de ella es que tiene que ver con su familia, algo que ella quiere hacer, compartir con nosotros.
One that we try to do is when we're having dinner together, we try to do no phones at the table, which is sometimes
Cuando estamos comiendo, tratamos de no tener teléfonos en la mesa.
That's just one example of many. One example of
Eso es
many.
uno de los ejemplos de muchos. I have one here, sorry, we have
No, we're not using that much example. It's okay. I know the phone's a hard one to have boundaries with.
Yeah. I'm going to switch it this way. Okay. All right. Ya lo arreglé. Okay.
When we're thinking about boundaries in relationships, these are other relationships where we might have to set boundaries or think about boundaries.
Otras relaciones en las cuales nosotros quisiéramos establecer límites saludables.
So you could do marriage or even a dating relationship.
Puede ser matrimonio o cuando no estás casada o casado, tienes una relación donde estás tratando de conseguir tu pareja.
With our families or even extended family, right? If you're married and you have in-laws and
con nuestras familias nucleares o con nuestras familias extensivas, cuando tienes suegros, suegras, algo así.
Boundaries with your church.
Límites con tu iglesia.
With work.
Con el trabajo.
And with your children.
Con los niños y niñas.
Old and young.
A jóvenes y no tan jóvenes.
I don't know if that gets harder.
If
it gets harder or easier as your kids get older.
Se puede parecer, no sé si se hace más difícil mientras eres más joven o mientras estás más adulto.
Now thinking about boundaries within ourselves.
Yeah, you can ask them if you if it's hard or easy. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right. Keep going, please.
Boundaries we set related to money, work, food, drinks, more.
Otros límites que establecemos acerca, por ejemplo, del dinero, el trabajo, la comida, bebidas, etc.
These are examples. So I will not spend my money impulsively when I am feeling triggered or upset or anxious or whatever.
No, este es un ejemplo. No voy a gastar mi dinero impulsivamente cuando me siento fastidiada o fastidiado o perturbado o lo que fuera. No me sienta bien en ese momento.
I will not drink anymore tonight. I've reached my limit.
No voy a consumir más, en este caso alcohol. Ya llegué a mi límite I have reached, llegué a mi límite.
I will not check work emails or maybe take work phone calls outside of designated work time.
No voy a tomar, no voy a chequear los emails del trabajo o tomar llamadas fuera de mi línea de trabajo.
One that I try to set, I'll give a personal example for this one.
Voy a poner un ejemplo personal.
So I really love coffee, and I like to go out and buy coffee at coffee shops.
Okay, those of you who sell coffee, she's your customer. Okay, me gusta mucho el café, y me gusta irlo a comprar afuera.
But a boundary that I try to set is to make my coffee at home, instead of going out and buying it every morning.
Ajá, pero un límite que yo he colocado es hacer mi café en la casa en lugar de estarlo comprando por ahí todo el tiempo, comprarle a la tienda Team Lee o something like that. Actually, no instead of going to Team's Lee coffee shop.
Well, if they're going to make it for me, I'll go to their coffee shop.
No, but he has to sell it. He has to make profit, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's free.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's just one example, once again, of many. I'm sure everybody has.
Ese es un ejemplo de muchos. Yo creo que mucha gente tiene sus propios ejemplos.
When it comes to setting of boundaries, I really liked this quote. Life will say no for you if you don't learn to say it for yourself.
La vida, otro ejemplo, esta es una cosa que quiero compartir, dice ella, me gusta mucho. La vida te va a decir no por ti si tú no aprendes a decirlo por ti mismo o por ti misma.
I think if you're not comfortable with saying the word no, becoming comfortable with saying the word no, if you're not used to saying no.
Sí, pienso que si no estás acostumbrada o acostumbrado a decir no.
And for those who maybe are too structured or have too many boundaries, it's learning to maybe not say no as much.
Por ejemplo, algunos de ustedes, let me just rephrase something. Algunos de ustedes tendrán que aprender a decir no más seguido, y algunos de ustedes que dicen tanto no, deben aprender a decir un poquito más de sí. ¿Ya? Just basically what she said en español.
When we're able to say no, it'll oftentimes allow us to say yes to the things that God wants for us.
Cuando podemos decir no, eso nos capacita para decir sí a lo que Dios tiene para nosotros muchas veces.
Sometimes if we're too busy doing things to please other people, we're often not listening to maybe what God's trying to say, or not leaving room for that.
Cuando estamos tan ocupadas tratando de escuchar a todo el mundo menos a Dios, tal vez no podemos escucharlo por no prestar atención.
When thinking about if setting boundaries is intimidating or scary, it's really important to start very small and start easy with just one boundary, not 10.
Cuando colocar límites es un poquito intimidante, sería importante comenzar con límites pequeños, de tal manera que pueda ir creciendo en esa proporción.
Taking ownership over what is yours and what is not. So what can you control versus what's not yours to own or what's not yours to control.
Tomar responsabilidad de lo que es nuestro y de lo que no es decir, de lo que tenemos control y lo que no tenemos control.
Boundaries can change over time.
Los límites pueden cambiar con el paso del tiempo.
It often comes with different seasons of life.
Normalmente vienen y llegan con diferentes tipos de momentos o etapas en nuestras vidas.
I had different boundaries when I was single versus dating versus married versus becoming a mom.
Por ejemplo, yo tenía muchos tipos de diferentes límites cuando estaba soltera, luego cuando comencé a tener citas con mi potencial esposo, y luego cuando me casé, y luego cuando me hice mamá.
So if you set a boundary, it's okay to change it if it needs to be changed after some time.
Si colocas un límite, está bien cambiarlo cuando tu realidad ha cambiado.
And boundaries is about you and what you think you need.
Los límites es acerca de ti y acerca de lo que tú consideras que necesitas.
Of course, obviously consulting with God too. Consulting with God on what those boundaries might be.
Por supuesto, sería muy importante consultarle a Dios. And maybe I also consult with a psychologist.
Oh, yeah.
me hable con un psicólogo o psicóloga también le puede ayudar, ¿ok?
No is a complete sentence.
You don't need translation for that. No es una oración completa.
I think oftentimes people feel that they need to explain themselves when they're setting a boundary, and you can just say no, I can't do that for you or whatever.
Algunas veces pienso que la gente gasta mucho tiempo explicando lo que ha dicho que va a hacer y solamente necesita una palabra, maybe the magic word, right? No.
Yeah.
By the way, those of you who speak English, you know how you say no in español? No. So you don't have, no worries. Okay. Yeah.
I love that. I thought of some questions that would be really good to think about beyond tonight, maybe this week, just something to think about as we're talking about boundaries.
Estas son cosas que me gustaría dejar con ustedes para reflexionar, como de lo que hemos estado hablando. Quiero dejarme estas preguntas.
Do you have a hard time setting boundaries with others, and why, if you do?
¿Tienes dificultad para colocar límites a otras personas? Y si es sí, ¿por qué?
What's one boundary you have had to set this year with a coworker, friend, or family member, and how did you feel when setting that boundary?
¿Cuál es esa limitante o límite que tuviste que colocar en este año con un trabajador, una persona que trabaja contigo, un amigo, una amiga, un miembro de tu familia? ¿Y cómo te hizo sentir haber colocado ese límite?
Do you have any holiday boundaries with the holidays coming up?
¿Tienen ustedes unos límites acerca de los días feriados, de los días festivos?
Especially thinking of just holiday boundaries, sometimes it's about spending money or how much time you're going to spend with friends and family.
Por ejemplo, cuando estás celebrando en esos días feriados, ¿cuáles son los límites que le colocas a gastar dinero, el tiempo que le compartes con los amigos o familia, todo eso?
And what emotions am I feeling and what is my body telling me? What emotions am I feeling and what is my body telling me?
Cuando hago esto, ¿qué emociones estoy sintiendo y qué me está diciendo mi cuerpo?
What emotions are you feeling as you try to set a boundary? Do you feel guilty? Do you feel scared? Do you feel nervous? Thinking about those emotions.
¿Qué emociones siente? ¿Qué sentimientos siente? Experimenta cuando está colocando límites. Se siente. Can you repeat the emotion you just said?
Oh yeah, of course. What emotions are you?
No, just the
Guilty.
¿Qué culpabilidad, temor? ¿Qué tipo de sentimientos experimenta?
Or what emotions am I feeling when I feel like people are crossing a boundary?
¿O qué sentimientos experimenta cuando usted siente que la gente está tratando de romper sus límites?
And where are you feeling that in your body? What's your body telling you? Do you feel it in your chest or your head or your heart?
¿Dónde lo sientes esa tensión? ¿En el pecho? ¿En su corazón? ¿En su cabeza? ¿Dónde?
Just paying attention to what your body's telling you.
Es importantísimo prestarle atención a lo que el cuerpo te está diciendo.
They don't have to do this right now, but I put up a QR code where they can take a quiz with your phone. If people don't have a phone, I can try to email it too.
So it's pretty easy, right? Put your phone there, click the yellow or purple or blue, whatever it comes to you.
Yeah, you can do this later. It gives you an idea of maybe where you're at with your boundaries.
See, if you like, I want to split. You want to talk to Facebook people too?
Yeah.
Facebook.
It gives you an idea of where you're at with your boundaries if you feel like, and it'll tell you based off of a couple questions. Are your boundaries too rigid, too tight? Do you need to add more boundaries, or are you good?
Este examen que tienes allí, amigos y amigas, puede ayudarte a ver cómo están tus límites. Es como un examen para evaluación de tus límites. Okay?
Yeah, and oh good, so you printed it out.
Yes.
Oh good,
That's
awesome.
Tim Lee. He's making coffee for you too.
Oh good.
¿Estás haciendo café para ti?
Ordering it.
Yeah, ordering it.
No, that's great.
Actually, he made it right there. It's the white container over
Oh,
there.
perfect.
Yeah.
And this is just a starting point, so don't.
Esto es solamente el
something to get you
comienzo.
thinking.
Esto es solamente para comenzar a pensar sobre estos asuntos.
Yeah. Go back.
Gracias. But at this point, if you don't mind, we'd like to open it for people. Maybe they want to offer you something, like a cup of coffee, something. La gente quiere ofrecer algo, quiere hacer una pregunta. Maybe you may have a question. Maybe, right? Una pregunta puede tener. And I think that's the reason why we are here, right? I mean, what she just said, lo que ella dijo, is very helpful to think about these things. Pero es muy importante para ayudarnos a pensar en esto. But I think it's also important if you have a question or something that you want to say. Si tiene alguna pregunta o algo que quiera compartir. This is the right moment. She still has like 15 more minutes to go. Tienes como 15 minutos más. You did an amazing job. It's 15. You have to still 15 more minutes if you want.
I was going to say something else really quick before we open up for you. Just something that you guys, boundaries won't go away throughout the rest of your life.
No, las límites no se van a ir en el resto de tu vida. Siempre hay que colocarlos.
It's something that I'm still learning, growing, and figuring it out, and so it's something that you're going to need forever and ever.
Es algo que ella y todos nosotros estamos todavía aprendiendo, reaprendiendo cómo colocar eso y cómo vivir con esos límites. Así que alguien más, alguna pregunta, any questions? Just, be willing to just, if you have something to say, or if you want to ask a question, this is the right moment. Si tiene alguna cosa que decir o quiere hacer alguna pregunta, este es el momento apropiado. Okay? Yes.
So if you identify an area that you'd want a boundary, what's one easy step to begin to create a boundary?
Okay, si identificaste un lugar donde tienes que colocar un límite, ¿cuál es la mejor manera para comenzar a poner ese límite?
Okay, let's use an example, because that might be a little bit more relatable. So say I want to be able to say no to my friend. Sometimes I think it happens in friendships. Maybe you want to start saying no to your friends more if you feel like maybe you're feeling pressured by a friend.
Por ejemplo, si quieres colocar a un amigo o a una amiga un límite saludable, porque a veces estás sintiendo la presión de esa amiga o de ese amigo.
I think something to do is maybe practice writing it out. If you're gonna speak it to somebody, just in general, whether it's about the friend or not, writing it out or practicing it saying out loud by yourself is a good way to start.
Una buena manera es escribir lo que le vas a decir a la persona y después, si quieres, practicarlo verbalmente por tu cuenta, solo o sola, a ver cómo te va.
If you have a person in your life that you can trust, you can practice saying it to them.
Y si tienes una persona a la cual puedes confiar y practicar con ella, también puedes hacerlo.
That way you have an idea to see how this feels before you go and actually enforce or practice this boundary with the person that you're going to.
Eso te ayudaría a entender o a saber cómo se siente haciendo eso con una persona que es más neutral para prepararte para cuando tengas que hacerlo realmente con la persona que tiene que hacerlo.
You can also ask God for wisdom and discernment on if this is a good boundary to put in.
También puedes pedirle a Dios que te muestre si esto que estás haciendo, colocar ese límite, es el más apropiado y la forma más apropiada. Yes, sir.
Okay, so are there inappropriate ways to do boundaries?
¿Hay algún tipo de forma inapropiada de colocar límites?
I think it's so hard to try to expand on this, but being not kind or being rude, because we want to still be respectful, especially if this is someone we care about. We want them to know we care about them when we're expressing our boundary. Sorry, that was a lot.
Esto es muy importante porque es un poquito complejo y es que uno todavía quiere seguir siendo amable, ¿verdad? Con la persona con la que va a colocar el límite.
And and this is sometimes where it's helpful to, if you have someone you trust, to or taking it to God as well, just to kind of make sure, is this a good boundary I should be setting, or is this an inappropriate boundary, or maybe this is not too harsh of a boundary to put.
Es importante como otra vez ver cómo alguien más puede darte una opinión, obviamente un ser humano, o también al mismo tiempo pedirle señor a Dios si esto es correcto, porque puede ser muy dura ese límite. Yeah. Yes.
For things like food, drinking, video games, etc., what are flags or warning signs that we should set boundaries or limits?
Para cosas como comida, bebida, videojuegos, ¿cuáles son las señales que me dicen que debo ya colocar un límite?
I'm going to add phones in there too.
Yes.
Voy a añadir teléfonos allí y otras cosas más, right?
That's a really good question.
Es una buena pregunta.
Things that come to mind is one, if you feel that it's taking away from, oh gosh, how do I put this? Like things that you have to be doing, right? If you find that food, drinking, video games, phone is taking away from you doing your job, it's affecting your work or even your relationships.
Por ejemplo, si tus videojuegos, tu bebida, tu comida o algo así, teléfonos, te está alejando de tu trabajo que tienes que hacer correctamente. Esa es una manera de pensar sobre ese límite.
So that's one area, if it's affecting that, but also if somebody else has brought it to you and told you, hey, I'm thinking, if somebody that knows you well has brought it to your attention and said that they've noticed that it's an issue that you have.
Entonces puede ser que también alguien más te lo haya traído a colación y te haya dicho, hey, te has dado cuenta de esta situación.
I would say those are the two biggest ones.
Yeah,
if it's causing interference with something, with your life, or if someone's brought it to your attention.
Si te está causando interferencia con alguna parte de tu vida, o si alguien más te está diciendo acerca de algo que está ocurriendo contigo hacia otras personas.
Or if it's taking away from time with God too.
O si tal vez está quitándote el tiempo de estar con Dios.
I think a lot of people say they don't have time to do Bible study or small group or prayer, but they have time to go do all these other things, right?
Pienso que muchas veces la gente dice, no, yo no tengo tiempo para ir a Encounter. I'm just kidding. No tengo tiempo para el estudio bíblico, no tengo tiempo para leerla, para orar, nada de esto. Pero en realidad puede ser una excusa porque sí tiene tiempo para otras cosas, right? Exactly what she's saying.
No, that's a good point. If you can play video games for 3 hours, you can go to church for 1 hour.
Es un buen punto. Si puedes jugar 3 horas en videojuegos, ¿cómo no vas a ir a la iglesia por 1 hora? And this church is 1 hour service.
See? There you
Yeah,
go.
1 hora. En esta iglesia es 1 hora. Okay. ¿Alguien más? Someone else. Come on. She still has 7 more minutes. So let's do better, you know? It's up to 8 p.m. So we have some time. ¿Alguien más? ¿Alguien más? You want to say something? No? Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, after when you start a new year, you start with the new resolutions, okay?
Ajá, por ejemplo,
Yes.
cuando comienzas un nuevo año, comienzas con nuevas resoluciones.
And one of my resolutions was, okay, I'm gonna put limits and don't listen other people's problems.
Voy a
Because
poner
it's
límites.
affecting me. You know?
Voy a poner límites y no voy a continuar escuchando los problemas de otras personas.
And people sometimes, expecting advices.
Por ejemplo,
I'm
ya
not
sabes,
professional.
algunas personas están esperando consejos. You grab it? Okay.
Yes.
So, what's the best way to put some limits right there? And they say, okay, I'm not the right person to solve your problems, and go with you.
Right. Right.
With a
With
professional.
somebody, yes. No.
Yes, let me translate, please. So what would be the best way to then tell these people, go to either Alison or someone else? That's what he said, right? Well, I'm translating en español o en inglés. Bueno, sería lo mejor de que vaya a una persona que tenga la capacidad de escucharle mejor.
I'm really glad you brought that up because that's not uncommon for a lot of people.
Me alegra mucho que hayas traído eso a colación porque eso no es poco común con mucha gente.
I'll give an example. I was working with a client earlier this week whose parent comes to them with all of their problems, and they feel very overwhelmed by that.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I was working with a client earlier this week whose their parent will come to them with and tell them all their problems, and it's very overwhelming.
Estaba trabajando con un cliente que viene con sus padres que tienen todos sus grandes problemas y es bastante abrumador.
So it's something that happens, right? Without realizing, maybe you're taking on other people's problems. It can happen quickly, especially if it's a friend or family
Y
member.
es algo que no te das cuenta, pero comienzas a absorber los problemas de todas las personas que te están diciendo cosas y te cargas con eso.
So I think it's when it's somebody you care about, you obviously want to listen to them and let them know you care about them and what's happening.
Cuando es alguien que a ti te importa una persona, ¿verdad? Obviamente quisieras darle un tiempo y escucharle. Uh-huh.
And I think just saying it exactly how you said it, because I care about you, I think these problems are almost too big for me. Like I can't solve your problems. I don't have the skills or the training. Or
Por ejemplo, lo que tú dijiste está muy bien. Puedes decirlo ahí, mira, porque me importa tu vida, te tengo que decir la verdad. No tengo la capacidad para trabajar con esa dificultad o ese reto que tú tienes.
But I would love to help you get the help you need for your problem.
Pero
So let's work together.
Pero me gustaría buscar la manera de ayudarte a conseguir la solución, así que trabajemos juntos en buscarla.
See, especially if it's someone you care about, it's not telling them, oh, go find somebody. It could be, I really care about you, and I want to help you, but I can't take on all of the problems.
Especialmente si es una persona que tú aprecias, no es solamente mandarla a otro lado, pero de verdad mostrarle que quieres contribuir con su solución.
Hopefully that would be well received because it's out of care and love.
Porque eso se mostrará que te importa, o eso mostrará que te importa a ti esa persona, aunque no le dejas solución tú mismo. ¿Ya? Yes.
I'm sorry. I think it's hard though when it is your parents, and they just wanna, how do you say it? They just wanna tell you. Like they don't really want you. They know you can't solve it, but they wanna tell you everything. How do you? And you listen, and you, as a human, I think you wanna, you know, you're like, well, yeah. But then you go into this hole, and I don't know, how can you put a limit?
Okay, so, por ejemplo, si son tus padres, papá y mamá, y te quieren compartir sus problemas, bien difícil no escucharles, pero de todas maneras no tiene la solución. ¿Cómo haces? ¿Qué haces?
There's a couple different parts that I think of. It's understanding how much capacity do you have to listen, right? Like in the moment, are you ready? Are you prepared to listen? Is it not a good time to listen, right?
Tal vez es importante definir tu capacidad para poder escuchar bien en ese momento. ¿Estás lista para escuchar o no? ¿Realmente? ¿O simplemente estás forzada a escuchar o algo así, no?
And so thinking of when you're having those conversations, if it's depending on if it's on the phone or in person, but figuring out ways to, not to cut off a person or make them stop, but just, if it's on the phone, say, oh, you know, I only have about 15 minutes to talk tonight or this or that, just really being able to, I do that all the time when I have perspective, even clients to talk to, I say, you know, I only have this much time to talk, just letting you know, and if you need to talk more, we can set up another time to talk, things like that, but kind of know if there's certain people that kind of take advantage of your time and they're not going to do anything or change anything, making sure ahead of time you're really setting up those limits and making sure you're not leaving feeling exhausted, right? Sorry, that was a lot.
It's okay. I'm going to set some limits here.
I know.
So, básicamente es definir cuán lejos quieres llegar. That's it. That's the definition. No, I did say really that. How far you really want to go with this conversation?
Yes,
That's
and
what
I
I
think
said.
it is so hard. When it's people you care about, sometimes you have a larger capacity and you don't mind listening. And that's where it kind of comes into listening to yourself. When it starts to really bother you and it's frustrating you and upsetting you, that's when you know, okay, I think this is kind of hitting on my boundaries.
Por ejemplo, cuando es una persona que a ti te importa mucho, como un familiar, tienes una capacidad mucho más amplia para escuchar. Sin embargo, tu propio cuerpo, tu propio espíritu te está diciendo, hasta aquí llega, ya no puedes más. Entonces tienes que prestar atención a eso, ¿no? Yeah. Okay, in the back. Someone in the back. Yeah? Anyone else? ¿Alguien más? Brother Lee?
Well, mine was kind of the same thing as, what if you set a boundary, but that person does not respect it over and over and over again?
¿Qué querías si...
What do you do?
Él dice que se parece mucho a la pregunta, pero en este caso es, ¿qué haces si colocas un límite y la persona continúa infringiendo ese límite constantemente una y otra vez?
A couple of things, because it obviously depends on the situation or circumstance.
Depende de la circunstancia, pero
The first one is making sure that it has been clearly communicated
primero hay que asegurarse que fue comunicado claramente el límite.
and that they know and then also making sure if it's over and over that they know they have crossed your boundary and how it's making you feel.
Y asegurarse que ellos sepan, que escuchen claramente que sí han invadido el límite más de una vez y cómo tú te estás sintiendo cada vez que ellos están haciendo eso.
And if that still doesn't work, then it's reevaluating the relationship.
Y si eso no funciona, entonces hay que reevaluar la relación de tal manera de ver cómo hacer con eso.
And that might not mean you telling them, I don't want to be your friend, or I don't want to be your family member if it's a family or anything like that. But more so, it's really pulling back on your end, not giving them more of you that they deserve.
Y eso no significa decirles a ellos que si son amigos o amigas, que se acabó la amistad, o si es familia, que ya no pueden ser más sus familiares, sino más bien, sin decirles, ustedes mismos decidir dentro de ustedes a cuánto le van a seguir dando, hasta qué punto pueden llegar. All right. You know, so I think, can you and I have a quick conversation
Of
here?
course.
Okay, so Tim, you want to translate into Spanish, please?
Oh, stop here.
No, basically, I think, let me ask you this question. Like, when you are dealing with your patients, do you have, I mean, every professional has different, or therapist has their own rhythm and their own ways, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cada psicólogo tiene su propia práctica. What is the healthiest time limit you find out that works better for you when you're dealing with people in general?
Like the sessions.
No, let's say, for example, for example.
Oh, so typically my sessions are about 45 minutes. Like, that's how long they run.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 45 minutos dura sus sesiones. Okay, then when you are thinking about a relationship now, not your client, but a person in general, can you time them out or like have a time for them? Have you done that? Algunas veces usted sí, okay. Si usted puede colocar un tiempo límite como terapista, también puede colocar tal vez un tiempo límite como persona con otra persona. Have you done that?
Probably not consciously or on purpose, but there are certain people that I will put time limits on. Probably like, okay, I'm in the car and I'll call this person, but when I get to my destination, I'm hanging up the phone or things like that. Yeah.
Okay, tal vez no conscientemente, pero sí, inconscientemente más de una vez he tenido que hacerlo. Por ejemplo, si estoy en el carro, estoy hablando con esa persona y cuando voy llegando a mi destino, ya tengo que decir, me tengo que ir porque llegué, something like that, right?
Or there's certain friends you might go out to dinner with.
O algunos
Not the
amigos,
least.
no,
There's certain friends you might go out to dinner with.
o algunos amigos con los cuales vas a comer o algo.
But if you know, okay, I'm only going to set a limit of 2 hours for dinner.
Por ejemplo, usted podría decir, un ejemplo, podría decir, yo tengo 2 horas para compartir con esta familia o de este
Things like
grupo.
that. Yeah.
Ya, o puede hacerlo. Ya. Okay, I think.
And if people have questions, they can come talk to me afterwards too.
Oh yeah. You see what she said? That she's gonna charge me if I ask more questions.
No.
She didn't say that. She said, if you have more questions, si tiene más preguntas, you can talk to me afterwards. She said that to me, but so for me to translate, right? Que si tiene más preguntas, puede acercarse a ella y hablar. So you know, I don't know, but I think your friend Tim, right? He's communicated to you that we have a scholarship here at Encounter for people who want to see a therapist or a psychologist. Nosotros tenemos aquí unas becas para personas que quieren ir a ver a un psicólogo o un terapista. Yeah, so that's part of what we're trying to do here.
Which is amazing. Which is amazing.
It is amazing, but which is really weird is nobody has asked about it. Even though, right, Tim? Or you not yet. And how long have we been doing this?
About
5 meses?
yeah, about
5 months?
5 months.
5 months. 5 meses, 5 months, and nadie ha pedido.
If nobody's going to take it,
Becca.
then I will.
Si nadie lo va a tomar, dice la terapista, yo lo voy a tomar. Hey, I have a question for you. I was telling someone something like this like 2 days ago, something like that. I was sharing with them, actually 1 day ago, how psychologists have their own psychology.
Oh yeah, therapists go to therapy. You should.
Los psicólogos tienen sus psicólogos y van a terapia. Do you know that pastors also go to
Yes,
other pastors? And in our case, en nuestro caso, the Presbyterian ministers, we have to have 3 people that we can go 3 personas que nosotros podamos ir, 3 people. And so, why? What do you think it is?
Why people don't?
No, why pastors have to go to 3?
Oh gosh, because there's a lot. Ministry it's a lot. It's all consuming.
Yeah, you listen to a lot of people and also you do a lot of stuff. So then you have to receive too. So some people think if you're a psychologist or a pastor or a leader, you don't need help. Okay, but you do. La gente piensa que por ser pastor, terapista o líder no necesita ayuda. Pero sí, yesterday actually I told that same person that I needed him to coach me in a particular area. Le dije a esa persona que me podía coachar en una particular area. You know what that person said to me? Do you really need a coach? ¿Necesitas un coach? And I said, absolutely. For that particular matter, whatever that was. Por esa particular cosa particular, sí. Okay? Well,
Yeah.
so I think.
Well, somebody should take advantage of that scholarship.
Yeah. I mean, it's not limited to Encounter. No está limitado a Encounter. It's not limited to Morningside Presbyterian Church either. No. It is open para gente, so for people that needs it. Está abierto para gente de Encounter, gente de Morningside, y más allá de Morningside, beyond Morningside too. So we want to make sure that money was dedicated to support the intention of people who wanted to start looking for help. Entonces ese dinero está hecho para ayudar a las personas que quieran buscar ayuda. So if you really want to do that, si quieres hacer eso, you need to speak with no Daddy Lee, but Brother Lee. This one. Please stand up. So he is the responsible person. Él es la persona responsable. So he's the responsible person. You need to apply. He's totally confident. No, the system also. He is confidential, but also the system is totally confidential. So nobody will know that you request that. Nadie va a saber que tú pediste eso. And nobody will say, where's the money? No, because the money will go directly to their therapist. El dinero va a llegar directamente al terapista. Así que, yes, sir. Yeah.
Allison, are you taking clients right now?
I am, but only online right now, not in person. But there are so many different therapists out there, and especially there's Spanish-speaking therapists, there's therapists who speak other language, there are therapists who are older than I am, younger than I am, male therapists. There's just so many different therapists based off of who you feel comfortable speaking to.
So lo que ella dijo es, busque un terapista.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just basically, tienen que buscar ayuda. Busque ayuda. Terapistas hay en línea, adultos, de todo. Okay? So, yeah. So you may take people online, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how's it working for you? Does it work? I mean, there's people that's really looking for you then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. ¿Está funcionando? Yeah. Okay? We are done for tonight. Estamos listos por hoy. And so talking about, now let's switch the conversation to, Van, you said, create some freedom, right? Ella dijo que los límites crean libertad. So that's the reason why churches, they have rhythms. Por eso las iglesias tienen ritmos. And one of the rhythms that we have here, at least every Friday night, cada viernes, is after we have this important conversation with professionals like you, cuando tenemos este tipo de conversaciones, lo siguiente que hacemos es, what we do next is go to fellowship time, ir al tiempo de fellowship. You see the hospitality table over there, that has a resemble of some Hispanic heritage, because this is the month, right? El mes hispano, dicen. Although for me, the Hispanic month is every month. Todos los meses es el mes de la hispanidad, and also for everybody else too is their day too. Okay, so let's stand up, please. And why don't we just now bless Alison and pray for her. Would you like us to pray for you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I will take all the prayer.
Okay, so symbolically, you can extend your hands to her. And if you want to join me in this prayer, please join me in this prayer. Say, Lord Jesus, Señor Jesús, please bless Alison. in a very special way.
In a very special way.
Amen. Amen. You know how to pray. That's good. Okay, so put your hands together for Alison. Thank you so much. You see, I have some few announcements for you quickly. And the announcements you can maybe see. So next, I'll like show quickly the announcement. You know what's going on this Sunday? It's worship under the tree, play, praise, and picnic. So we had done 2 already. It was really cool. I mean, they were really cool, and now and a blessing. You know, even people that had never come to church, to this church, they came because of this particular event. So I want you to continue to invite people. It's really, really. I mean, how many of you have been in praise, the play, praise, and picnic? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. You see, isn't it great? And yeah. So, by the way, and we have coffee too in from Guatemala, isn't it? From Guatemala. You don't know?
I don't know.
You will know. Okay, so really, so this Sunday at 11:15 a.m. Feel free to come, any one of you, please. Next one is, see, after Alison, we have October 27th, the 4th Friday of the month. We have another guest speaker. I will let you know more detail next week. But if you know some of the details, feel free to.
Yes, it will be Kevin Doy, who is a chaplain at Fuller Seminary, and he'll be talking about what does church or congregational care look like for people struggling with mental illness.
Gracias. Entonces, Kevin Doy,
de
Fuller Seminary, va a estar hablando el octubre 27. Okay, next, por favor. That's it. Okay, so go in peace, and may God bless you in a very special way tonight. Please stay to say hello to people and say thank you to Alison. Thank you so much.